the lady smiling, on the right is smiling, and the lady on the left is probably trying to bargain to get a better price. Oops. Wait. Mm. You're still on the screen, right? Okay.
You're still on the screen, but we're not able to see the slide.
Okay, I've just exit from the screen. Okay, so what I want from the situation that I want to share with you just now is like it's about bargaining. I want to start the session with something which all of us are very used to. Let's say you want to purchase something for 100 ringgit. Let's say you want to buy a pair of shoes which cost 100 ringgit. All right. So you go to the shop and you feel that you want it at a lower price at 90 ringgit. So you will ask the shopkeeper, Uncle, boleh kurang tak? Can you reduce the price? And normally in that situation, what will the seller tell you? Rahim, what do you think the seller will say when you said, can you reduce the price? Normally, what will they tell you?
Maybe that's the best price they can give.
Yeah. So you're asking him, can you reduce the price? So in most situations, the seller will tell you or will ask you, how much do you want? Is that right? They will ask you, how much do you want? Berapa awak mau? Okay, all right. So my question is, what should you answer when he asks you, how much do you want? So when the seller asks you how much do you want, if you are trying to bargain, if you want to maintain your position, the best thing is you should not say, oh, RM90 boleh uncle. You don't say that. You don't have to give your baseline. For bargaining, what you can do is you ask the person, you ask the seller, how much can you give me? All right? Why that is the case for bargaining? Because if you have stated your price, your baseline that I want it for 90 ringgit, do you think you will get, for sure you will not get less than 90 ringgit, and you might not get even 90 ringgit, and the seller know that, oh, this is his baseline. 90 ringgit is his baseline. So the seller might sell you for 95. All right? But if you ask him, the seller instead, how much do you, or how much can you give, or how much can you sell? So he might give you, say, 90. If he said 90, is there a possibility that you can get lesser than 90 ringgit? You might get less than 90 ringgit, right? Or you can get 90 ringgit. But the bottom line is that when you bargain, because at a shop, or when you want to bargain, which we do very frequently, the best is if you want to when you ask the seller, how much do you want for this item, and the seller will ask you, when you ask, can you reduce the price, and the seller will ask you, how much do you want, or how much, what's the price that you're looking for? You ask him, how much can you give me? All right, because by protecting your baseline, you have a better negotiation power. So that is just a little tips on bargaining. And bargaining, my point is that bargaining is just one form of negotiation. There are many forms of negotiation, and there are many things about negotiation that we need to know. And this is what I'll be sharing with you tonight. In the next 1 hour, I think we only have 1 hour left. Okay, and then we'll see. We'll continue with our slide. Wait, this slide is not so friendly with me tonight. Okay. It says we can display your shared content. Make sure that you are allowed permission to share content, and then try again. Wait.
Slide. Okay.
Okay, you can see the slide now.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So this is what I'm going to share with you tonight. First, we'll talk about context of negotiation. After that, we talk about stages of negotiation, and then next, number three, we'll talk about set the baseline in negotiation, and number four, we'll talk about culture difference in negotiation, and then number five, we'll talk about body language in negotiation, and we'll talk about escaping deadlock. I'll give you a case study, the union versus the bank case. And the last thing that I'm going to share with you is negotiation to diffuse a situation. How do you diffuse a tense situation? All right, I'll go to the next slide. Okay, when we talk about context of negotiation, negotiation can come in an informal way and in an informal setting. So these are examples of negotiation between me and my friends. All right, and this is not in the office, but in a rural environment. So this is one context of negotiation. And you can also be negotiating in a more formal environment, in a more formal setting. As in this picture, this is a negotiation that take place in Istanbul, Turkey, about a few years back. And this is a European Union project negotiation. If you look at the people here, they look all very different. And for your information, the members of this project comes from 10 countries and 12 different organizations. So this is the beginning of the negotiation meeting, and in this meeting, which is which is conducted in in a formal setting, is to negotiate how much or what component of the project will be divided among the members. So in this context, it is an informal setting, and it is a negotiation to bargain for the scope of your project and the amount of money that you're going to get. Okay, right? We'll go to the next setting. So this is a high-level negotiation. In this meeting, as you can see, this meeting was moderated by a very respected man in our country, by Tun Daim Zainuddin. He is in the center here. And if you look at the lighting setting and the number of participants, it is equally between three representatives of the ministry and three representatives of the developer. And if you can see, the one that's both men that side that was sitting beside Tun Daim were former ministers. So this was a very interesting negotiation, and it is because the content of the negotiation was very serious. So we have a moderator to negotiate to mediate the session between the two parties. So this is one level of another context of a negotiation involving a mediator, which is a very respected person for both groups, right? And just now, it is an informal setting, and this is a negotiation that take place in a rural environment. It took place in Peshawar in Pakistan, and this negotiation was between the rural community, the villages, and the agency, the government agency that is managing the project in this village. So the setting is very informal. It is in a village. It's a very humble setting, but the negotiation content is very serious because it involves the government and also the villagers. Okay, so in this context, even though it is done in an informal setting in a rural and humble environment, but the context of discussion is serious content. And this is another moment of negotiation in Botswana, Africa, also in a formal context between adults, between people of a high caliber. But on the other hand, these negotiations can also be made with people who are much younger than us, as in this photograph. Okay, so what I want you to remember is that in negotiation context, first, you must always respect your counterpart. You must always respect your counterpart. And by the way, if you see this little cat or this little teacher sitting on this chair, all right, whenever you see this teacher sitting on this, he's not a teacher, this image sitting on this chair, that means the points beside this what you call this emoji or something is something that I hope you can remember, because these are good points for you to remember, and these are things that you need to know. All right, whenever you see this The points beside it is something that for you to remember. So in negotiation context, first of all is you must always respect your counterpart. Even though your counterpart is children, even though they are children, even though they are villagers, but you must respect them. That's number one. Number two, you must understand the issue, the real problem that make you have to come to the negotiation. You must understand the issue, and you must understand the perimeter of the problem. By saying the perimeter of the problem is how much people are affected by this, who caused the problem, and what is the expectation of this party, and what is the expectation of the other party. So you must understand the perimeter. You must understand who are affected by the issue. Number three is never attempt to show that you are more powerful than the other counterpart. When you come to negotiation, you must set your mind that this is an equal level negotiation, even though you are doing it with the children, or even though you're doing it with villagers and so on. The reason is that when you negotiate, when you come to a level that you have to negotiate, is because you need the other party to agree to a common goal or to a common objective. That's the reason of the negotiation. So you should never attempt to show that you are more powerful than the other counterpart. If you think that you're more powerful, you might as well make the decision without them, right? So, but in this context in context of negotiation, you must remember that the person that you negotiate with is equally important as you are important to your group of people. Okay? Shall we continue, or you guys have any question? Cik Rahim, shall we continue? Can you hear? Huh?
Yes, sure, Zul.
Okay, I'll continue, yeah? All right? Okay. So we have talked about context of negotiation. Next, we go to the next slide. Can you see the slide?
Yes.
Yes? Okay,
Yes.
good. All right. Next, we'll go to stages of negotiation. We must understand what are the stages of negotiation that takes place so that we know where we are in the aspect of negotiation. So there are many theories to this. Some say there are 5 stages of negotiation, some say there are 3, some say there are 4. But in our context, I would like to share with you the 4 stages of negotiation, because this is very straightforward and becomes the foundation of negotiation. Look at this chart here. When the first stage of negotiation is to make preparation. What I mean by preparation is that you must understand who are you negotiating with. You must understand who is the leader that is going to do the negotiation. You must understand what is the issue or the problem of what you are negotiating with your counterpart. You must also find out what is the baseline, what is the lowest point that you can go, and what is the highest expectation that you want out of the negotiation. So with this information, then you sit, and you start to negotiate with your counterpart. And this is where you start to exchange information with your counterpart. By exchanging information with your counterpart, what I mean is that you start telling them of your situation, and this is what you are proposing as a solution. And at that point of time, after that, your counterpart will start. Hello? Can I continue?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, all right. And after that, the counterpart will start exchanging information with you and tell you what they want to put on the table. After these 2 stages of negotiation, then the bargaining take place. Just now, earlier in our session, was telling you about how the person asked the seller, can you reduce the price, and the seller start telling how much do you want. and instead we said, how much can you give, right? So that is the bargaining process that take place. And lastly, after you have reached to an agreement, then you close your negotiation by writing down, by recording what is the amount or what is the final result or what is the decision that have been agreed by both parties. Or if there's no if there is that there happen it happen to be that there is no decision yet, then you say that there is no decision yet, but both parties have agreed to defer this for what, for another 1 day, for another 2 days, or for another 3 days. So all in all, there are 4 stages of negotiation. First is to make the preparation. Second is you sit down and exchange the information, and then you start to bargain and give your offer and put your offer on the table. And lastly, you must close the negotiation and put the commitment in writing. All right. So again, this cat sitting on the chair means that it's good for you to remember the 4 points or the 4 stage of negotiation. Now we talk about set the baseline in negotiation. What do you mean by baseline in negotiation? When we talk about baseline is what is the level of negotiation that you want to start, and how much far or how much higher can you go and how much lower can you go. Let's see. This is an example of discussion to discuss about setting the baseline of negotiation. And this the negotiation actually involved people from the ministry when I was with the Ministry of Federal Territories and against the developer. So there's these people, my friend, the team with me was very interesting. There were 7 legal advisors in the team, legal advisor from the ministry, from the DBKL, from the AG's department, and also we have people from the land department and so on. So what we were negotiating was that we are trying to get a higher price for the government for the land sold by the government. Okay, so in this setting this baseline, because for every case was different. So in this at this point of time, we were discussing whether how much we want as a team, because everybody have to agree. Because when you start discussing, you cannot be saying that when you start with 1 million and then suddenly your friends say, okay, let's reduce it to 0.8 million. It doesn't work that way. Everybody must stick to the baseline that have been agreed before you start the negotiation. Okay. So when you want to prepare, when preparing to negotiate, you need to ask yourself 3 questions. Again, there is this little cat sitting on the chair, so it's good for you to remember the points shared in this screen. So this slide will help you to develop the baseline for your negotiation. One is, why am I negotiating? Why am I negotiating? Because you want a better value, because my company is at stake, because you want to make a better offer. So you must understand, why am I negotiating? And then you must also ask yourself, who am I negotiating for? Are you representing yourself? Are you representing your company? Or are you representing your family? And question number 3 is also very important. How much of your ego will be involved? How much you have to go down to appeal or to persuade them for you to agree to a decision? All right. These questions will help you establish the importance of the negotiation, which and also will affect the outcome. And also there are other additional ways to assess the situation, including you set your goals and limits. For example, what are your walk away triggers? If your counterpart doesn't agree to your price, at what point that you can leave? Okay, fine, let's stop this negotiation, no deal. At what point you can walk away? All right. And you also have to assess the situation in the sense that if you win or you lose, you must have a plan to deal with the outcome. Are you ready to lose? Can you take the decision that you lose the negotiation? And if you lose or if you win, what will affect? What will be affected? How much it will affect your company, or how much it will affect you and how much it will affect your counterpart. And also you must look at the long-term benefits. And the final important point that you must ask yourself is that what will happen to the relationship after this negotiation? Is it worth it? Especially when this involve families and so on, or involve neighbors, or it involve two very good, used to be very good partners, suddenly they disagree, excuse me, disagree. They were business partner for very long, for 10 years, and suddenly they have to come to a situation where they negotiate. So you ask yourself, after this negotiation with my business partner, what will happen to the relationship? Is it worth it for me to go for this price? Or is it worth it for me to lose, or for me to win and your best friend lose the negotiation? So all this will help you in putting your baseline or putting your parameter where you are in the negotiation. All right. If you have any question, you can always stop and ask, because it's also quite challenging if I'm the only one talking. Okay. All right. Now we'll talk about something quite interesting, which is cultural difference in negotiation. I want to tell you one story about this. This happened to me when we were negotiating for a project in Peshawar, Pakistan. I stopped sharing so that I want to tell this story because it's very interesting. Are we still on the slide, or are we?
No longer. There's no slide.
There's no slide. Okay, so we are back on. I'm sorry, Putri, I'm not very familiar with Webex. Quite familiar with Zoom.
Yeah, okay, all right, no problem.
You guys see me now, or okay? All right. Okay, so I want to tell you about this culture difference that I learned through a very hard way. What happened is that there was a project in Peshawar, Pakistan, sponsored by ISESCO. ISESCO is similar to UNESCO, but ISESCO is for Islamic or OIC member countries or the Islamic countries. All right. So it was a rural development project. It's for rural community in Peshawar. And for your information, Peshawar is a province which is border to Afghanistan. So the people there are Pashtun. If you look at the photo just now, they wear headgear which are similar to the people in Pakistan. And they speak the same language. Macam orang Kelantan, saudara Zaimah dengan Southern Thai lah. Boleh cakap Melayu, boleh cakap Kelantan kan. Okay. So these people are at the border. So they are Pashtun, and they are in the province of Peshawar. They are very rural. They are very far from Islamabad. It's about 12 hours. Okay. So what happened was that we are the project management of we are doing the project management for that particular project. We get the funding from ISESCO, so we have a rural community already in Peshawar, and we have a government an agriculture department or agriculture agency in Pakistan who will helping who will be participating in the project, and we also have a local partner, a research institute in Peshawar. So what happened was that the villagers and the government agency or the agriculture department could not agree to where the project should be implemented. The rural community wanted to be near their village, in their village. And the agriculture agency wanted to be near their office. And the distance is about 3 hours away. It's not very far, but the roads are not very good. So the project has been delayed for 2 months, and I was being chased by the sponsor, by ISESCO, because we are supposed to complete the project by a certain period and then launching it and so on. And so it was delayed because there was no decision on where to do the project. So what happened was that my boss told me that I think we have to go to Pakistan and solve this problem, okay, because they were not able to come with a decision. So I communicated with our local partner, researcher. He's a science background also, engineering background in Peshawar. So I told him that I'm coming with my boss. Her name is so and so, and so we went to Islamabad. Islamabad and Peshawar is about 12 hours journey. All right. When I reached the airport, Okay, very interesting about culture difference. When I reached the airport, so my boss, she likes to take photograph. So she was behind me. She was taking photograph here and there. And so this guy came to me, our project partner. I'm meeting him for the first time. So I told her, okay, let me introduce you to my superior, Dr. Rohani Hashim. Okay. And then he looked at me macam muka orang blur. Macam I was introducing my boss and was very blur. And then he pulled me aside. He pulled me aside. He said, your boss is a lady? I said, yeah. I mean, does she look like man to you? I mean, he said, no, yeah, she look like a lady, yeah. Okay, so what's the problem? Why you didn't tell me your boss is a lady? I said, what's the problem? Pakistan used to have a female prime minister before. And by the way, I told you that my boss name is Rohani Hashim. Yes, dia kata, but in Pashtun, Rohani can also be the name of man. I said, okay, fine. In Pashtun, Rohani can be name of a lady or it can be the name of woman. But here, Rohani is my boss. She's a lady. So can we go to Peshawar now? He said, problem. What's the problem? He said, in Peshawar, the Pashtun people, they don't negotiate with women. Ula, I said. Can you imagine? We come all the way from Kuala Lumpur, we flew to Islamabad, and I reached the airport, and this local partner of us were telling me that the people of Pashtun does not negotiate with women. And I was like, my boss pun dah blur. Inilah aku naik kapal terbang kan. And suddenly you're telling me that I cannot negotiate this project. So, but my boss was very kind. He told me, it's okay. We still go to Peshawar and see, but you do the negotiation. So, the next day, we traveled to Peshawar. It took us 12 hours to reach Peshawar. And true enough, like the community that I showed you just now, they are very rural people. They are Pashtun. They speak Pashtun more often than they speak the Pakistani language. And so my boss, when we arrived, my boss have to sit with the ladies, the villagers. At least I have a translator. This guy who speak English and the people from the agriculture this also speak English, and we communicate with the villagers. But my boss, she has to sit with the lady, with the lady villagers, and none of them speak English. So saya tak tahu lah macam mana dia bercakap, macam ayam itik lah kot. Tunjuk cawan, tunjuk air kan. But she was there for like half a day. But at last she had a good time also. She took me the photograph and so on. But this is one culture difference that I learned. It can be very simple, but it can be cause problem to you if this is not addressed early. So culture difference is negotiation can happen and can affect your negotiation. But in our context, Alhamdulillah, I mean, the negotiation went well. We agreed to a location, and my boss was also happy, even though she's not part of the negotiation. But it almost affect. What happened if I didn't go there, and only my boss represented our organization? Then the negotiation cannot take place. All right. So, but one important point that I want to share with you is that when cultural challenges or when you face with culture difference, you cannot impose your culture on other people's culture. It just doesn't work that way. As much as you think that your culture is right, but we cannot impose our culture on another person. All right? Let's look at the slide again. Window. Look at this picture. This was in Masai Mara in Kenya. We were doing a bio-waste project, another European Union bio-waste project in Kenya at this time. So what happened was that we bring technology from Malaysia, and with partnership from the European Research Institute, we want to develop a bio-waste project for the people in Masai Mara, Kenya. For your information, Masai Mara, Kenya, they are about 8 or 10 hours journey from Nairobi. It's very far, and they have the biggest, safari in the world in Masai Mara. Okay, that's very interesting. So as you can see in this picture, the ladies are taking waters from the source of water in the village. And look at the picture here. This is in the village itself. You look at the man in the red, pakai baju merah tu kan kat belakang kan, tengah bersukaria, happy-happy macam tu. in this culture, in this part of Kenya, the woman work. The woman fetch water, the woman get the water, the woman do the cooking, the woman look for all the firewoods and so on. But the men don't have to do all those work. It's something that we are not familiar with. It's something that we think is not right. So when we said, when we were discussing with these villagers about this project, they were telling us, um, okay, this part the woman will do. That part the woman will do. This part also the woman will do. Then kita tanya balik, semua woman tu apa yang korang buat kan? But then we realize that that is the culture. That is the culture, and we cannot tell them that, oh no, what you're doing is wrong. Now you should be doing the work and not the woman. We cannot do that. So in culture difference, when you are negotiating for a project, you cannot impose your culture onto others, and you must always respect others' culture, no matter how different it is from ours. We must respect their culture. Okay? Can we break for 1 minute? I need to drink. Okay, so we'll go to the body language in negotiation. All right. Body language play a very important part in negotiation. I will share with you. It says here, it's what you don't say that counts. Yeah, some people say that, from if you unfolded, if you put your hands on your hips and so on. But there are a few things that I want you to remember. You see this little cat on the chair? That means these are points that you should remember. One is, when you negotiate, you must pay attention to your counterpart and make eye contact with the person. I repeat, you must pay attention to your counterpart and make eye contact with the person that you're negotiating it with. Jangan bila kita negotiate, you look at your shoe. You look down, look at your shoe. The person is talking, you look at your shoe. Kita negotiate dengan kasut ke? We are negotiating with the person, so please have the respect to look at the person and make eye contact. And number two, it's very important for you to when the person is speaking and you understand the point that he is making, it's very important for you to nod to show that you understand what is being explained. Because understanding what is being explained is very important in negotiating, because it helps the person to feel that he understands what I'm trying to say and he understands the problem. So it's good to note down when your counterpart is explaining and when you understand what is being explained. Number three, you must always show friendly body gestures in negotiation. Okay, don't be rude. Don't show very negative body language. For example, look at your watch. When you look at watch, it's like you're asking the person to rush, to finish it quickly. Or you put your hand under your chin and look at the ceiling and so on. Those are very rude gestures, negative gestures that should not be done in negotiation. And one important thing that you should not do when you negotiate is never fold your arm during negotiation. What does unfolding means? It can show that you are trying to be aggressive, you are being defensive, and so on. So never unfold yourself during negotiation, because it is not a friendly gesture. Because in negotiation, you must show body language that you are open to the discussion, you're open to discuss the option, and you are ready to listen to the person. Okay? So please remember these 4 points. There are many actually, but these are the most important one. Make eye contact, not to show that you understand your counterpart, show your friendly body gestures, and never unfold. All right? Okay, now I want to show you, to tell you another story, how body language affects our negotiation. I stop this. Alright, I'm going to tell you one story. It is pertaining again when we were negotiating at the ministry with the land developers. What happened was that a piece of land was already sold for, let's say we give a figure for 10 million. Okay. At that point, new government took place and we feel that the value was too low. The value was too low and we feel that the government should be getting more higher value. But the agreement was already signed. If the developer bring it to the court, most likely it is in most instances that they will win the negotiation. They will win the court case, all right? But we still feel that, no, the government must get a bit higher price. So we put ourselves together and we start to negotiate. So I was with my team just now, with legal advisors, with the operational people, with the land department and so on. And we have the developers in front of us. The developers come with their legal advisors also, with their accountants and so on, and with their advisors. So before the negotiation, I was asking my team, how much, if we bring this to court, can we win this case? So all the legal advisors were telling me that, Cik Zul, ni macam kita ulu tengkuk, nak kena sembelih. Bawa pergi court, confirm kalah, dia kata. I asked one of them, all the civil legal advisors say the same thing. Bawa pergi court, confirm kalah. So I said, okay, that's the situation. So how much do you think we should get from this? They said, if we get 1 million, is good enough. 1 million, dapat tambah 1 juta, dapat 10 juta tu pun dah bagus dah, dia kata. Because memang dah tak boleh, sebenarnya kalau dia tak nak pun tak boleh buat apa. I said, okay, let's start with 1 million. Okay, alright. If we want 1 million, I said, I will start with 14 million. Because I expect the person to bring it down and so on. I expect the person to bring it down when we start to negotiate. Okay, alright. So we start the negotiation. Our counterpart come in and I asked him. He said, "Okay, how much does the government want?" He asked me. I said, "Okay." At that time it was late night. Dah pukul 11 lebih malam dah. I said, "Alright, put it this way. How much can you give us?" Going back to the bargaining just now, right? Always ask how much can you give us, okay? So you hold your baseline, okay? That's what we are doing. What I was doing. And then he said, he take his calculator, dia tekan-tekan nombor, dia tengok kiri, dia tengok kanan apa semua. He told me, we can give you 13 million. Kawan saya duduk kat sebelah ni sebab dah sebelah malam dengan 13 juta terus tegak duduk. Kan? And then he was pulling my pants. I know what he meant. Cukup lah, dah dapat 13 juta dah kot, menjoma balik dah sebelah lebih kan. But I was thinking that, he's starting the baseline at 13 million. I could get more. Alright, I could get more not for me, but for the government. So I told him, I also took my calculator. I start pressing number. Honestly, I was just pressing my handphone. I'm not calculating anything. I was just showing some body language and then I look at my paper and then saya mengeling sikit macam to show that it's not enough. So I told him, Tan Sri, you look at the clock, it's almost 12 midnight. For your information, ini semua belakang saya semua ada anak dekat rumah. I said, semua ada anak kecil. We are here from morning. I said, let us finish this negotiation with a good decision and please give us your last offer. I saw him. And then dia pun sekali lagi, saya rasa dia pun dia pun tak tekan apa kot. Saya rasa dia tekan calculator just to show. That's body language, okay? That's the body language dia to show that I'm sure that he actually has a figure, already has a baseline berapa dia nak bagi. Okay? So he told me 14 million. Okay? It is good enough because earlier remember my team said that 1 juta dapat pun dah bagus dah. Because bawa pergi court pun kalah kan. Because we are trying to get more value for the government. Agreement dah signed. So what happened was that I said, okay Tan Sri, let's come up with a bit higher. Let's finish this off quickly. Let's make it 14.5 million. You agree Tan Sri? Then we can all go back. Then he said, okay, 14.5 million and we leave the negotiation happy. I was more than happy because we won 1 million, but at the end of the day, we got 14.5. We were very lucky. I was happy for the government at that time, but what my point was that I hold my baseline. I let him put the price, and I was lucky that he put a much higher price than we expect. Okay, sebenarnya value tanah tu was more, but agreement was signed before and so on. So we are trying to raise the value. So I hold my baseline, and also I give some body language. I display some body language to show that I expect more, right? By taking my calculators, and I'm sure he does the same thing. Dia pun saya rasa ambil calculator dia tak kira pun, dia tekan-tekan je just to show that macam aku tengah kira kan. And I'm very sure he also has a figure. But still, we have to show that the body is not enough, the amount is not enough, not by saying it, but through some body language. Okay? So in many instances, body language play an important role in negotiation. Okay, how much time do we have? Dah nak habis masa Alright, we are taking, we go to the slide again. Saya nak masuk slide lupa. Macam okay, can you see the slide?
Yes.
Okay, right. So we have talked about context of negotiation. We have talked about the 4 stages of negotiation. And then we also went through the baseline negotiation, and we talked about culture difference, how we should not impose our culture, and how the culture difference can affect our negotiation if you are not careful or we don't have prior information. And I have also shared with you some points about body language that you have to remember to look at your counterpart, make eye contact, note when you talk. And now I want to talk about escaping the deadlock, how you escape from a deadlock. A deadlock means there is no decision. Okay? There is no decision and both are very adamant, tak nak mengalah. Alright? I want to give you the case of the union versus the bank. When we talk about unions, unions are normally very powerful. Okay? Alright. In the case, for your information, when you talk about unions in Malaysia, in most instance, union are the non-executive. They are the support staff. They are the technician, they are the clerks and so on. In Malaysia, most of the time, especially in banks, among the banks, the executive level and above cannot be union members. Union are for the support staff. And in overseas, if you look at this picture here, these are union of the airline workers. The airline workers union are very powerful in in the European countries. The union of the pilots, union of the mostly a union of the pilots and union of the flight crew, all right, and union of the steward and stewardess. So they have many unions because when they refuse to work, I mean when they start protesting and they don't turn up to work for like 2 days, macam mana kau terbang nak berangkat? Kau pilot semua mogok, alright? So union are very powerful, and I want to share with you about the case when the bank was. Can you see the slide now or you see me?
No slide.
Huh?
No slide.
Okay, right. So I want to talk about this union versus the bank case. It's very interesting how they end up the negotiation or how they come up with a decision. What happened was this. This normally happen between the employer and the union when they want to set the amount of bonus for the bank. Okay? Yang bagusnya, walaupun union yang set bonus, katalah union kata, we want bonus for 3 months. The employer said, no, we can only give you for 2 months. So they negotiate. So the good part is, even though the negotiation was done by the union, the support, the non-executive, but everybody will get the same amount. Okay, that's the good part. Okay, alright. The non-good part is that bila dia mogok. Bila frontline semua mogok, kita yang jadi pegawai ni semua pening kepala. Sebab apa? Kita lah nak jadi teller, kita lah nak jadi ni, okay, and so on. Okay, alright. So this happened quite many years ago. Masa zaman tak ada handphone but it was a very classic case. What happened was that the union does not agree that the bank does not want to give 2-month bonus. They were asking for 2-month bonus. And the bank was not making good profit at that time, and the bank want to stick to 1-month bonus. So the union refused, because to them, it has been many years that it is the bank has been providing 2 months, dan dah masuk dalam budget pun, tapi the management decide no, because our profit is low, so we cannot give more than 2 months. We can only give 1 month. Okay, so they come to a negotiation. It was a very tense negotiation that there was no decision. The management kata nak mogok lah. Dia kata, it's okay, you want to mogok. But siapa yang mogok semua lebih how many hours, take action. The union said, we will mogok, tapi mogok lama, bukan mogok 1 hari, dia kata. Kita kena mogok lama. So it was very tense, and dah siap entak-entak meja apa semua ni. So that's how negotiation take place in union and the management selalunya. So and it continue until the second day. And that was the perimeter, the cut-off line. They said, by tomorrow, tak ada decision, that's it. Nak walk off, nak mengalah, nak mogok, nak bagi bonus. So it was almost until the end of the day, almost 5 PM already, there was no decision. And semua dah hot, semua dah panas. Okay, semua tak nak give in. Management tak nak give in, the union pun tak nak give in. Management kata no, 1 month. Union kata no, 2 months. Sebulan setengah pun tak nak consider. Management kata take it or leave it, tak nak sudah. The union kata, you tak bagi, besok mogok 3 hari kat kaunter. Saya dah berdebar dah lama, macam mana ni kan, aku nak kena bos. Kalau support staff apa 3 hari apa mogok, mau mati kita kan, nak lagi sana lagi sini apa semua. So it was very tense. It was almost 5 o'clock, and suddenly the chief union said, okay, let's not talk about the bonus, about what we were discussing for the last 2 days. He said, why not now? We just forget about what we were discussing just now. Let us now open our wallet. Zaman tu simpan gambar family dalam duit dalam sekarang dalam handphone kan. He said, let us show our family photos to each of us. Okay? So the CEO was like macam, tunjuk gambar family and talk about your family, he said. What was he doing? He said, maybe we have to get to know ourselves, get to know each other better. So then the CEO said, okay, you can start first. So the chief union said that this is my son, dia ada anak OKU. Dia ada anak special kid OKU. Alright? And then the other party tell, okay, the secretary of the union said that she's a single mother, and she was also taking care of her mother who is not well. Mak dia lumpuh. And then the other party was also explaining about his family. He got many kids. Okay, he got many kids studying and so on. So satu dia ada anak OKU, satu berlemak stroke, satu anak ramai. And the CEO was very surprised when he heard this. He was very surprised when he heard this, and he tell about himself also. Oh, my son is studying overseas ni apa semua. And then ni cakap, oh anak saya pun belajar kat UiTM apa semua, tengah buat law lah apa semua. Oh ni tengah buat medik. Can you see the difference? The support staff, the non-executive at that time, ada yang mak sakit, jaga mak lumpuh, ada yang anak OKU, ada yang anak ramai. Yang dekat belah sini, the management, semua ni yang nice-nice. Rezeki dia lah kan. So anak buat law lah, kat overseas lah apa semua. Then the CEO, and he understand why the union really need the 2-month bonus. Do you get the point? Right? You get the point? What was being done by the chief by the chief union? He brought in emotion. Maybe secara sedar atau tidak, tapi he wants to have a decision at the end of the negotiation. Dia tak nak walk off. The union leader pun sebenarnya tak nak mogok. Mogok that means lagi tense, lagi ni, bonus pun tak dapat, you kena team you pun kena ambil tindakan dan sebagainya. But they want a decision. Okay? And what happened was that because it was so tense, so he deferred the decision and just talk about other things than the bonus. just talk about family. And it happened to be that when he talked about family, he brought in emotion, and the people, the management understand this is the background of his union members. And that is why they really need the 2-month bonus. So what happened after that? At the end of the decision, they introduced about their family. The CEO said, fine, 2-month bonus, we will manage our profit. That's it. Okay?
Cik Zul,
Yeah?
sorry, I think you have 5 minutes left before we move
Okay.
to the next session.
Okay, I'll finish in 5 minutes. All right. Okay. So, but efficient MC bagus. Okay. So, that was what happened when a case study that I can share with you how the bank and the negotiation, the union negotiated when they come to a very tense situation. Okay. All right. My last slide. 3 minutes. So, okay. Okay, negotiation to diffuse a situation. I will not talk long about this, but this took place when we were doing our humanitarian mission to Kampung Orang Asli. So we did many activities there. It was a big team, about more than 50 people. We did many activities. We did medical programs, education programs. We installed solar system and so on. And then one of our partner happened to be Bank Islam. The night before we were supposed to leave, we were there for 3 days. So they give each of this family, they give money 50 ringgit in a nice envelope. What happened was that the day kami nak balik tu, the villagers told us that they want to return the money. I was very surprised. Nak pulang balik duit? He said, yes, we want to return back the money. Why? I mean, so and then he said the people were I said berapa ramai nak pulang duit? Saya ingatkan 2-3 orang. Kalau 2-3 orang tak apa pulang je lah kan. Bagi kat kampung buat tabung kampung. He said no, satu kampung. So later, then we come to this situation. This is when we were negotiating with next to me and people behind me are people from our NGO, and the people on the right side ada orang asli. Okay? So I try to understand. So I told myself that I cannot leave this mission, go back, leave this kampung dengan keadaan I have to take back the money. Why? Sebab if that happen, it means that apa yang kami buat 3 hari tu, they will forget about it. Okay? They will forget about it. This is program untuk kita punya bantuan dan juga sedikit banyak untuk dakwah kampung orang asli. Okay? I said kalau kami kena bawa balik duit tu, maknanya memang fail lah mission ni. For everything you do, dia akan ingat, oh aku dah pulangkan balik bagi kat aku. So that cannot happen. But I was so confused, was asking myself why they want to return the money. So we were discussing, and then so the Tok Batin said they call one young guy, supposed to be like dia paling pandai lah kat kampung tu sebab dia sekolah menengah kan. So he told me, I said to myself, I was both angry and disappointed and sad. Cakap, kita dah bagi kau duit, kau nak pulangkan balik. Itu ego lah. But at the same time, I said, okay, I cannot. Kita tak boleh balik, tak boleh tinggalkan kampung ini dengan keadaan kita terpaksa ambil duit ini sebab kesan ini tak bagus. So I told myself, macam mana pun I have to bring down my ego. Alright? And the first thing I did was I apologize to them. I said, I don't know, saya tak tahu apa kita salah kita. I told them, if saya ada buat salah apa-apa, tersalah cakap, anak buah saya ada tersilap cakap, saya cakap saya minta maaf. So the moment bila minta maaf, they calm down a bit. So I asked them, what is the problem? So the guys told me that ini kampung masuk Islam. Saya nak suruh duit orang seorang kampung masuk Islam? Saya cakap kenapa? Kan? Ini dia kata dekat envelope ni ada tulis Islam. Then saya teringat. Dan saya tengok envelope tu, you know envelope raya, biasa dapat rampau duit raya kan? This envelope partner kami tu bank Islam. Of course dia pakai envelope bank Islam. So, ada tulis Islam. So, yang anak muda ni ingat, envelope tu adalah untuk masuk Islam. So, I almost wanted to laugh at that point. But I contain, I said, okay, ni saya nak kena terangkan. So, saya cakap dengan dia, oh sebenarnya tak macam tu. I said sebenarnya apa yang berlaku adalah, I said envelope ni yang bagi duit ni bank Islam. Dan bank Islam, kita orang Melayu ni kalau kita bagi when we give something, kita tak suka tunjuk berapa banyak yang kita bagi. So kita masuk dalam envelope. Lepas tu ada apa-apa kita bagi dalam sarung. Oh, dia kata bukan untuk masuk Islam lah. Tak, I said. Nama bank tu kadang-kadang raya Cina pun kita pakai tulis apa sebab raya Cina tapi tak bukan nak suruh jadi Cina. So dia pun gelak-gelak apa semua. So,
Final here.
Yeah.
Do you not even buy?
ada soalan? Ada
It's
soalan tak? Yeah, okay. Continue. So, what happened was that when we are in a tense situation, to diffuse the tense situation, number one is to always remember, ni satu ni jawab kena ingat. Okay? Key to diffuse the situation, a tense situation is apologize. Can you remember this? So, if you look at the picture before this, muka semua muka ketat kan? Semua macam nak telan apa semua. Alright, saya pun dah tengah macam tengah hot juga masa tu. Tapi end of the day, it was a very good, it end very nicely. Semua dah senyum gelak, duit boleh ambil balik apa semua. But most important, please remember, this teacher here, this cartoon, key to diffuse a tense situation is always start by apologizing. Walaupun awak tak salah, tapi minta maaf. Bila kita minta maaf, paling cepat cara nak sejukkan orang. Okay? Alright? So, I want to close this session. So, when we negotiate, alright, when we negotiate, we make a deal. We must put the option on the table. We must have more than one option. We must be ready if the person doesn't agree to this, then next, what shall we do? What is the next offer? Okay? So, discussion involve putting options on the table, also to compromise. And this negotiation is also to achieve your business goal, and end of the day, it has to be put, whatever decided or whatever has to be put into an agreement or also to be written down, and a good negotiation requires skills. Then that was what I was sharing with you just now. And in the context of working, okay, in the context of working, I want you to remember this. Always table options for your superior. Don't go to your superior and pick one suggestion and then you'll say, no, I disagree. Then balik nak fikir macam nak bagi dia agree. So when you see your boss, I'm giving you tips in working context. Always have more than one option for your superior to choose. And also, based on my experience, choose the right day and choose the right time to negotiate with your management. And this is not put in any textbook, but when I say the right day and the right time, wait, okay, right? So when I say the right day and the right time to negotiate with your superior, what day is the right day to negotiate? Ada ke right day? Siapa nak teka? Tapi tak ada hadiah. Hadiah bercakap Dr. Putih dengan Dr. Zaimah. Apa right day nak negotiate? Cari kat buku teks tak ada. I'm sharing you based on my experience lah. What is the right time nak negotiate? Siapa nak try? Kalau siapa betul,
somebody answer on chat Friday. Hazrin Hasni. Hazrin has Friday.
Kenapa Friday is a good day to negotiate?
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, because Friday is the last day of working, so like everyone just want to go home.
Yeah, that is right. If you have a choice, don't negotiate with your management on Monday. Betul tak Putri, Zaimah? Because Monday dalam kepala kita semua ada macam-macam. Masuk muka semua tengah ketat, tengah fikir ni. Saya sendiri, even though I love my staff, my team very much, but kalau saya masuk office on Monday morning, saya punya team lepas 10 minit masuk pegang kertas tu, saya dah macam budak ni. Kau tak ada time lain ke datang. Aku baru ni Monday kot kan. Bagilah masa sikit. Monday is not. And the same thing. I don't bring things to my boss on Monday morning. Okay. Ada orang mungkin Putri mungkin baik sikit lah. Any day is a good day nak negotiate dengan Putri kan. But in most situation, okay, don't negotiate with your management. If you have a choice, don't negotiate on Monday. Alright, people are very busy. There's so much on my mind. But Friday is a good day. Friday is a good day apa? Sebab petang ni dah nak balik kampung, dah nak balik Kelantan, dah nak pergi Kuala Lumpur, dah tengok anak, apa semua dah tengah good. So mood tengah bagus. That affects the negotiation. Okay, alright. And what is a good time to negotiate? What is a good time to negotiate? Lepas ni kau nak negotiate markah dengan Dr. Putri dan Dr. Zaimah, you can know. What is the best time to negotiate? Siapa nak teka? Ini kalau betul dapat markah ekstra, tapi minta kat Dr. Putri dan Dr. Zaimah lah. Yang tak saya tak ngajar. What is the best time to negotiate?
When they need it.
Before lunch, I think.
Somebody say after lunch.
After lunch.
Hazrin said again, after lunch.
After lunch, pandai. That is right. Don't negotiate in the morning because even though it's Friday, because Friday kita dah nak end of the week, but we still in the morning, we have many things on our mind. Betul Putri? Saya kalau WhatsApp kat Putri, kalau on pagi-pagi, mesti Putri reply lambat. Saya pun sama kak. Kalau orang WhatsApp saya pagi-pagi, mesti saya lambat reply because kita akan tengok WhatsApp on Monday, on apa-apa pagi because and we got many things. And nak negotiate and to see your superior on in the morning is not the best time. If you have an option, go for afternoon, petang. Kenapa petang? Sebab kalau nak makan lebih, nak jumpa Dr. Putri dan Dr. Zaman, petang diorang dah penat. Dia pun nak, okey lah, saya bagilah. Ni, tambah 5 markah. Kalau pagi, diorang tengah banyak tenaga, tengah garang. Okay, but I mean, I'm kidding. But in the morning, people have many things in their mind. And they are because you want something, right? You want to negotiate. Awak nak apa yang awak nak kan? So timing affect, hari affect. So if you have a choice pagi ke petang, pergi petang lah. Petang kita memang dah penat sikit. Betul tak Putri? Zaimah? Kan? Dah penat sikit. Most likely kita kata, okey lah. Kan? Apa dah penat kan? Kita dah macam, dah penat. Okey lah kan? Kita selalu macam tu. Most important, we get what we want. Tapi lepas ni awak jumpa petang, diorang cakap besok pagi. Itu nasib awak lah. Okay, but in general, choose the right time. After it's always better because you can get more positive response. Yeah, and Friday is always a better day to demand, to negotiate compared to Monday. People are very tight on Monday, very more tense on Monday. Adalah kok yang memang baik 7 hours 7 days a week dia memang sama je mood dia kan, but most people tak. Kita tak takut itu yang Zaman kita manusia kan. Kita bukan robot. Okay, alright, but most important when you see your superior, when you see your lecturer in your context, always have more than one option. To negotiate well, you must have more than one option. Alright, so all in all, please remember that if we can, we just go quickly. Saya ambil 2 minit boleh? Right, just finish. We recap a bit. Okay, there are many contexts of negotiation. Most important is always respect your counterpart. Okay, understand the issue and the parameter of the problem, how much it affects the team. Don't attempt to show that you're more powerful than your counterpart. That is a no-no. And remember that the reason you negotiate is to achieve a common goal. Okay, then in stages of negotiation, there are 4 stages. You must prepare, you must exchange information with respect, you start to bargain, and make sure that you have a proper closure, you put down what has been agreed, or you sign or you put a proper agreement. All right, and you must set the baseline for negotiation. Before you negotiate, how much lower can you go, or how much higher can you go, or in what situation you can walk off from the negotiation. And always ask yourself, why am I negotiating? Who am I negotiating for? And how much will be my ego involved? How much I have to appeal or to bring myself as to the lowest point which is required. And in culture different contexts, okay, you must remember that we must always respect the other's culture, and we cannot impose our culture on the other people, okay. And then body language is very important. Always pay attention to your counterpart, make eye contact. Jangan asyik tengok kasut, tengok kaki, because kita bukan negotiate dengan kaki, dengan kasut. We are negotiating with person in front of us. So look at the person and not to show that you understand what is being explained. So friendly body gestures and never unfold yourself during negotiation. And when you escape a deadlock, you must try to create a situation different away from what you were discussing, away from a tense situation. Try to discuss something else, take their mind off from the deadlock, okay? And when you negotiate to diffuse a tense situation, it's very simple. Always start by apologizing. All right, thank you very much. So that's how what I can share with you in this 1 hour. Negotiation is am I still on the slide? Oh,
No more.
okay, all right. Okay, so negotiation courses can take 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, and so on, depends on what you are negotiation. And there are some very, very high level of negotiation, such as negotiation to free hostage that involve life and so on. But the basic, the simplest or the least that you should require, or the basic skill that you need for negotiate is what I've shared with you just now. You can, of course, you can learn more with your reading, by discussing with your lecturers and so on. So thank you, everybody. I hope I've shared with you a little bit on the important skills that you need to know. I apologize again for the any technical glitch, because I'm not very familiar with Webex. Kalau Zoom tu biasalah. Okay, and also sorry for the change of time just now. I apologize for anything wrong that I said, and thank you so much.
Okay, it's okay, Chisel. Thank you, Cik Zulkifli Muhammad Nani, for that interesting talk just now. I am sure all of us are enlightened by his speech on workplace communication. And Cik Zulkifli has highlighted some important points, such as the power of body language in making negotiation. I believe everyone already has better understanding for the topic of session today. However, if anyone has any question to ask our speaker, I'm sure Encik Zulkifli Muhammad Nani will be pleased to answer them. So I open the Q&A session now. You may switch on your mic or leave your question in the chat box.
Really. Submit. Okay. Oh, any question?
I guess it's very clear. Crystal
Okay.
clear. Some question.
Okay, all right. So there's no question. I wish you all the best in your studies and in your career. Thank you once again to Dr. Putri Rohani and Dr. Zaima and other lecturers who participated in this sharing session. I hope all of us be blessed by Allah always, inshallah. I wish you a nice weekend to all of you. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you, Putri. Thank you, Zaima.
Yeah, thank you, Zul. Can we have the participants to switch on their cameras so that I can take picture?
Mm.
Okay.